When it comes to debuts, it doesn't get any bigger than this. Welcome to A Runner Does Music, where today we're looking at the debut studio album from Guns N' Roses called Appetite for Destruction. This is another commission from my friend Rod. If you're interested in getting a commission, stick around until the end of the video and I'll explain how you can do it. I will tell you right now, it's cheap as hell. This album, and really the formation of the band itself, is the result of a perfect storm of situations coming together, with the combination of two bands in the 80s being LA Guns and Hollywood Rose. These two would merge in the mid-80s, again with some lineup changes taking place before the classic lineup of Axl Rose, Slash, Izzy Stradlin, Steven Adler, and Duff McKagan would become what many consider the core set of band members for Guns N' Roses, despite only a 5-year tenure together, including on this album. But it's thanks to this album that this lineup has become so iconic. So, let's take a look at why this album is so highly regarded. The album is firmly split into two halves, shown even on the physical vinyl release, with there instead being an A and B side replaced by a G and R side. Tracks 1 through 6, which compose side G, all deal with drugs and hard life in the big city, like the LA Guns style of music, while the remaining tracks, which compose side R, all deal with love, sex, and relationships, as per the Hollywood Roses influence. The band brought in equal representation and inspiration from both of the bands that made up the early lineups and, of course, made for inspiration for the content at hand. Looking at the tracks on each side of the album, it's easy to see that division, and it creates a solid two-part story of sorts for this LP. Starting with side G, we get some of the band's most iconic songs straight out of the gate, including Welcome to the Jungle. There are a few ways to interpret the lyrics, with the direct inspiration for the song coming from a visit lead singer Axl Rose took to a friend, where in the big city of Seattle he still had this feeling that while the city was so big, it was nothing compared to the concrete jungle of Los Angeles, California. You can look at the song title and according lyrics as describing the city and its environment plainly, or even deeper so as the jungle being a label for the LA underground music scene, and both fit pretty fairly. But the underlying theme between both allusions is that in a place like this jungle, it's just as the lyrics say. You can find anything if you know where to look and you know who to talk to. Other themes explored on this track include sacrifice, greed, and the overall journey it takes to traverse the hard life of fast times and the hectic setting that this song looks to encapsulate, which later tracks will go on to further capture the essence of. With the nightlife and fast-paced energy that comes with a place like Los Angeles, drugs and similar vices are bound to trickle into things, which is shown off by Mr. Brownstone. The fifth track is all about the soaring highs, literally and metaphorically, of heroin usage and addiction, with lines such as "We've been dancing with Mr. Brownstone, he's been knocking, he won't leave me alone," portraying the feeling and vibe of being high on the aforementioned drug. It's not all good times and semi-positive representation, though, as the lyrics from Axl do go on to talk about the continued use of it, chasing the dragon, how it'll affect your daily life, and so on. But of course, with that typical hard rock flow and energy, which makes Guns N' Roses' album so good and identifiable. I haven't quite touched on any instrumental work on the album thus far, and I'll come back to this track and other songs from the first half of the album when that time comes, but I feel like it's worth mentioning that the entire first half of this album is arguably the most lyrically strong, both for the written talent as well as the vocal work put on by Axl. Paradise City is an undeniable heavy hitter for its raucous, unbeatable power, while Night Train and It's So Easy all have the pieces of a stellar rock hit, even among the songs that receive the most widespread acclaim, and it's due to the lyrics and vocal output by Axl Rose on the album. I'm a big critic of his voice, especially in conversations about other singers from this era and beyond, but Appetite for Destruction and Guns N' Roses as a band would not be as successful if it wasn't for that iconic voice at the forefront, singing lines such as "You get nothing for nothing if that's what you do, turn around bitch, I got a use for you, besides you ain't got nothing better to do and I'm bored." A lot of it is just pure, unadulterated, sometimes dated, but it's still essential 80s rock goodness for its good and bad elements. Going on to the second part of the album, the R side to coincide with this part of the album's influences from Hollywood Rose's work, we get songs I feel hold a lot of the instrumental beef on the album. It's hard not to start a section like this without talking about the big one, Sweet Child of Mine, so we'll just start there. The sense of range on this album is exemplified by having this song on the same tracklist as a song about heroin addiction, and I believe that Sweet Child of Mine has firmly earned its place as one of the best rock songs of all time, thanks in large part to Slash's guitar solo, which also stands as one of, if not the best, plain rock or hard rock guitar solos of all time. Slash crafted a masterpiece just by noodling on the guitar downstairs from Axl, as quoted by the lead singer himself, leading to the creation of the track itself. A testament to the pure raw talent that Slash has. The effortless flow over the strings combined with the signature whine of Axl on vocals makes for the perfect combination of elements, helped as well by the steady drumming of Steven Adler and purely complementary guitar work from Duff McKagan on bass and Izzy on rhythm guitar. While the three members I just mentioned don't stand out nearly as much as the two most popular and arguably important members of the band, it's fair and needed to note that they too stand out and perform exceptionally on songs such as You're Crazy, where Izzy really shines on the front lines alongside Slash. This song is a personal favorite of mine outside of the mega hit singles, as it just feels quintessentially GNR due to its hectic energy. Finding a standout drum track outside of the big name hits is a bit tricky, but Anything Goes does come to mind for Adler moments thanks to the measured attack behind Axl's constant vocal assault all throughout the track. I would argue, in fact, whether it's due to the mixing or other elements, that the bass and drums are the most neglected parts of Appetite for Destruction, but it's quickly made up purely for the power behind the three members that are most easily heard. In no way is it a negative comment when I say that the album is carried firmly by Axl, Slash, and sometimes Izzy. When it comes to the album as a whole, it's this trio and of course the popular duo at the forefront that makes up the framework of this album from top to bottom. And it's thanks to this more than likely unintentional direction that the album is so palpable for its quality within its era. With presence and volume on par with, or at least close to acts such as Motorhead, AC/DC, and Iron Maiden, the band would go on to release relatively popular albums even later on, such as Use Your Illusion, and further popular hits such as November Rain, but nothing would ever top the pure undeniable high that was this album, one of the greatest debut albums of all time. For these reasons, Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses gets a score of 9 out of 10, and that's a review. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you're interested in getting a commission from me, all it takes is $1 sent over to me. My social medias are down in the description and the link in the bio. And you just gotta contact me on a social media I got. We can talk about it and we can work something out. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're staying hydrated. I'll see you next time.